Hello everyone, welcome to RCD ShareNet. I'm Ella Huang. Today I'm going to talk about HandyCard as well as Taxi Saver. So they are of course different, but they are related as well. I'll start with HandyCard. So what is HandyCard? So obviously this is a card, and when you use the public transit, you use it. So mainly it is for people, customers, passengers with disabilities who cannot use the conventional public transit system without assistance. So this is very important. The person who cannot use independently without assistance the public transit, they can apply for a HandyCard. And I'll tell you what is the use of HandyCard. So what do you understand by public transit? So public transit mostly is talking about bus, we know that, SkyTrain, a lot of you are using it, and us, Sea Bus, as well as West Coast Express. So when we talk about public transit, we always talk about TransLink, BC Transit. What are they exactly? So, in BC, British Columbia, TransLink oversees the bus system, the public transit in Metro Vancouver and the Lower Mainland. But for the rest of the province, they're actually overseen by BC Transit. So they're more or less the same, but they're different companies and they have different names. So when you hear them, sometimes they may use different terminology. So that is, for instance, HandyCard is one. In Metro Vancouver, we call it HandyCard, so it is issued by TransLink. How about in Victoria? You probably hear that it's different. It's called HandyPass, and it is issued by BC Transit. So that is just slight different. I just want to cover, the difference so that you know that we are talking about the same thing. Okay, why do we need to apply for HandyCard? So we talk about it is people with disabilities, and then they would want to use it. But why? So if someone needs assistance to take bus or the public transit, then likely they will bring someone. We call it an attendant. So someone that would travel with the individual with disabilities so that they can take the bus or public transit. And so that is one thing that we bring someone on. So with a HandyCard, the attendant would travel free. And the other thing is with the bus fare, so it's always about money. So then the person who's the HandyCard holder, without any other subsidies for the public transit, if just with the HandyCard, they would ride the public transit at concession fare. So that is 50% of the regular fare. So those are good. And then we mentioned earlier about Taxi Saver. So Taxi is another form of transportation. And so how does it link to HandyCard? I'll talk about later. But mainly is, if you want to apply for Taxi Saver, you need to register for the HandyCard first. So that is very important for that. If you don't have a HandyCard, you cannot apply for Taxi Saver, which actually allows you to ride taxi at 50% discount. So some details will follow. How to apply for HandyCard? So earlier we did talk a little bit in the previous video of HandyDot. So HandyDot service for people with disabilities. So the process of applying for HandyCard and HandyDot, they're exactly the same with slight different. But the one big similarity is they use the same application form. So a lot of times when someone gets the application form for HandyDot, actually on the top, there are two boxes you can check. So if you want to apply for HandyDot, you check a box. When you apply for HandyCard, you check another box. And it is okay to check both. Okay, that's no cost to it. You can check both if you want to apply for both. Or if just one, let's check one. So if you apply for HandyCard, the one thing that is different from the HandyDot is you need to supply a photo. So after you check the box, then when you fill up the form, then when you send it in, you need to supply it with, if you physically send the application form in, you need to supply 2 current photos. So when you send it in, if you mail it in, you put the photos together with your application form. Do not staple the photo, because once you do that, then you punch some holes on the photo. It's not usable anymore. So remember that, just put it together and send it in. Or if you send in your application form electronically, you can do that. And then you need to submit digital photo. So for the physical photo, you need to send in 2 photos. If you submit it electronically, you just need to send in 1 digital photo to do that. And why do they ask for the photo? Because HandyCard is actually a photo ID. So on the card itself, you can see your own picture on it. So either digitally, or if you send in a physical photo, I believe they print it on. So there are certain dimensions to the size of the photographs to submit. If it is a physical photo, it has to be 1.25 inches square or 3.2 cm square. So you need to put that. You're not too big or too small. And then always, like this is a headshot, right? Like you want to put your head in, not the whole body. They don't need that. If the digital photo dimensions, it has to be a minimum of 300 dpi. It can be in JPEG, TIFF, or GIF. So those are, if you use the digital format, you know about that. Then all these format will be accepted. Then after checking off what you want to apply, the rest of the application forms is the same for both HandyDot and HandyCard. So of course you need to provide the information, your own information, such as your name, your date of birth, your address, your phone number, so all this. And then they also ask for one more thing, is the name of the emergency contact, the information. So you require the name, the phone number, and the relationship of an emergency contact to the HandyDot user and the HandyCard holder. Then they will ask you whether you need an assistant to assist you. So if you do, you need to do that. So remember, if you apply for a HandyCard, that means you cannot independently use the public transit. You need assistance, and the assistance will come from the attendant. So that is someone to assist you. In that case, you need to put the information of the person that's assist you, and they also want will ask you, what kind of assistance do you need? So you need to put that in, such as maybe you need someone to assist you to navigate the bus system, to board and unboard the bus, the train, or to, if it is crowded, then someone to will support you. So maybe, your gait is unsteady and all this. So you need to supply the information to them. Then they will also ask you whether you use any mobility aids. That means, like a cane, wheelchair, manual, or power chair, and they will ask you for the height and the dimension of that. So whether it is able to get into the public transit. Then the third section, that is the signature. So remember, the applicant, the person who applies for the HandyDot or HandyCard, they need to sign this. If they cannot sign, they need to make sure that they can just make sure, maybe put a mark on it, and then it's witnessed by someone. So one way or the other, the signature must be on. And the last section of that is to be completed by the applicant's family doctor or medical authority. So this is important because it has to be signed, and then the doctor support the individual applying for the HandyCard or the HandyDot service. So all this must be completed and signed, and then you send it off. If you have not completed everything, they will return the application to you. So in a way, like that, it will take longer time to process it. Now coming to the processing time, you ask, how long does it take, to apply for the HandyCard? So the application for process for the HandyCard takes quite a long time. So it may take up to 4 to 6 weeks to process. However, for the HandyCard, it's a bit faster. They take 5 to 10 days. They will register you, then they will kind of send you a number, then you can use HandyCard immediately. But for HandyCard, it will take a bit longer time, so you need to allow for that. And just one last word, I talk about this in the previous video when we talk about HandyCard services. So the HandyCard cannot be used for HandyCard ride. So it is mainly used for the conventional public transit. So this is important to remember. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit about attendant. A lot of people say, attendant travel free, so maybe I can bring 2 or 3 attendants. But that is not the case. So remember, attendant is present to support the individual who is the HandyCard holder to use the public transit. So including navigate the bus system, maybe supporting the person going in and out of the station, on and off the bus. So the attendant must be with the HandyCard holder all the time. So it is no good if I sit here and then the person I'm supporting is in the next car. It doesn't work that way. So it has to be together and supporting the person who is the card holder. And also one HandyCard holder is only allowed 1 attendant. So we cannot bring the whole gang together with you. And the same for HandyCard as well. On HandyCard, attendant is also allowed, and then also rides free. So again, this is 1 attendant, 1 customer. And then when you booked your HandyCard ride, you need to let the dispatcher know that is attendant coming, because they need to count the number of people in the small bus. And also, that is one thing with HandyCard is the attendant cannot be another HandyCard user, right? Since both people with disabilities, supporting each other may be a bit challenging. Okay, so now we come to Taxi Saver. So why is it related? So first of all, what is Taxi Saver? Taxi Saver is another mode of transportation option. So people using HandyCard, they require some specialized transportation, and taxi can be a good substitute for that. But we all know it costs quite a bit of money to use taxi service. So with that in mind in order to allow people with disabilities to have another transportation option, then the individual who has got a HandyCard is actually can use the taxi service at half price. Okay, so what they gauge on is the whether you have a HandyCard or not, and they use that as the proof of the disability. And so kind of what you do is you buy some coupons. So the coupon books usually comes in the value is $50 of value of the coupon, but you only pay $25 to buy it, so it is at half price, 50% off. And then when you use the coupon for your taxi ride, so it uses the face value of the coupon. So practically you ride the taxi in half price. But using that is when you use the Taxi Saver, so you call the taxi just as usual, and then they'll come, you can just use it, and when you pay with the coupon. But when you do that, you need to present the HandyCard together when you use the Taxi Saver. So in a way is because the taxi driver will write the HandyCard number on the Taxi Saver, and they're matched actually. Why is that? Because when you buy, you don't buy the Taxi Saver randomly. It's actually a very structured approach to buy the Taxi Saver. So how do you do that? After you have applied for the HandyCard, and then they will actually send you a note to say, do you want to apply for Taxi Saver? And then they will send you the form to apply for it. And on the form, you actually would indicate they have a restriction of how much you can buy each month. So the monthly cap is 2 books of $50 face value. So, like when you buy 2 books, the value of the books, $100, $50 each, but you only pay half price. So you pay $50 to buy that. And that is a limit of 2 books per month. So if you indicate that you want to buy it, say now is September, you want to buy it for October, then you mark it on the form for October, then they will send that to you. So they actually keep track of how many books you have bought and for what month you have bought it for and what are the numbers. Okay, so although that is no restriction that you must use it immediately, but they know kind of, like, okay, you buy these 2 books in October, then if you want to buy another, then you send in another check, and then to buy it for November, so on and so forth, and then they use it. And when you use it, you present your HandyCard. They also allow you to buy multiple months. So what does it mean? So when you get the application form to apply to buy the Taxi Saver, you actually can buy multiple months. So when I get the form, I can check October, November, December. I want to buy for 3 months. So you can get the maximum for 2 books per month. Then that's altogether 6 books. So you send in $150, $50 per month, so $150. However, when you get the books back, the coupons back, you don't get all 3 months' supplies. They will send you month by month. So although you pay in advance, they send you month by month. So that, but again, that is no expiration to the Taxi Saver. You can use it anytime you want. So for that. So it is important to know that when you plan it, because the one downside of that is you actually pay the money out up front. So I say, I want to buy the whole year's supply. Of course you can, then you have to put the money out first. Or you can plan accordingly when you need it, and you have 1 month's supply that you can use. So kind of that is something you can think about, And the good thing having some Taxi Saver in supply is, in case you need to go somewhere urgently, that might be difficult to order the HandyCard service because you need some time to arrange for the ride. And if you have no attendant to support you, then this is a good way. Then you can call a taxi, then it is a door-to-door service. So it is easy, and that is another option. Okay, that is all for today about HandyCard and Taxi Saver. And the similar information will be shared in Mandarin in upcoming ShareNet videos. So stay tuned for that. For now, thank you for watching.